want to deal with those douchebags while I'm there. It's completely over. My fourth and most important rule about going to shows is I want to make sure that there is 100% twat protection guarantee when I go to shows. And this comes from a very personal experience of mine. I used to go to all the hardcore shows and the punk shows a couple years back. And the thing is like, paying $8 to go into a show and leaving with a punch in the uterus is just not something I'm on board with. Like, I ain't playing that no more. I swear I was the biggest loser at all of those hardcore shows, which is a pretty big accomplishment. I was the person who was in a constant flinch, just completely always prepared for shit to go awry. Even if the band was like 20 feet away from me and I was standing against the back wall, completely uninvolved in anything going on, I was in a constant flinch. Like, if anyone had their back to the band and was looking on to me, they would have thought I had fucking Tourette syndrome, because I was just constantly twitching and ready for that shit to break down. I don't know what happened to hardcore music, like the punk music. It used to be a lot of guys who were wearing patches and kind of had scruffy hair. Now it just seems like young men who are well-dressed and angry. Like, it's hard to really know what the situation is. Like, why are you angry? Someone's wearing the same Fred Perry polo as me. I'm really pissed off about it. All right, fair enough. Why are you angry? Because my dad's BMW isn't getting serviced till Tuesday, and I gotta drive the Pathfinder for 3 days. It's like, well, I guess so. Like, that's the kind of thing that's changed. Like, so now the weather, like, I can have all 4 of those of my checklist checked off, but the weather, if I go out and there's a fucking foot of snow on my car, I'm not going. And another thing that's been really getting to me these days, really grating on me, is you go to see a band, and the DJ in between the bands plays the music loud or louder than the band that you were just listening to. It's like, no, that's cool. I wasn't planning on talking to any of my friends anyways, unless I was screaming individually into one of their ears. Like, it's like crazy. Like, my voice has an expiration, and the louder I talk, I could literally form a graph. Like, the louder I talk, the less minutes I will be able to talk. So, I don't know why that's going on, but I honestly, it really stirs me up when I have to be silent, like when I have to be alone with this guy. Like, nobody wants that. When I have to be alone with this guy, I start to rage out inside my head, my inner monologue. Everyone is supposed to have an inner child. I think I'm an inner elderly person, like an old person who's just ready to bitch. Like, every time I go to a show and the music's playing too loud, I'm like, what kind of nutcases go to a show like this? Honestly, here I am, waiting in line, freezing my budishkas off. Yeah, that's right, I'm concerned about my budishkas. All of a sudden, we got this guy with the ironic mustache playing his iPod, putting his saddest metal songs on, trying to get me to relate. I'm sorry, but I could be at home, firing up the old DVD player, watching 2 or 10 episodes of Curb Your Enthusiasm. Larry David, he's a genius, he's a modern day Woody Allen. There is no debate over that. He's the best man in the world. And I don't understand, do these people not want to have pleasant conversations? Are these people's lives so disgruntled that they don't want to have a pleasant conversation between 2 people? I mean, it's easy. You can have conversations about anything. You can have conversations about Jon Stewart, about Woody Allen, about the latest episode of Jersey Shore, about the latest season of Curb Your Enthusiasm. It's still a terrific show. I mean, I just don't get it. I guess being deaf by the time you're 30 is the new cool thing. I just don't get it. And that's what goes on in my head every time a DJ plays his music louder than the band. I cannot wait until I'm old enough to do that accent legitimately, like forever. Like, that's all I want to do. I already have my lost dreams and resentment down, it's gonna look something like this. Pair that with a Minnie Mouse sweatshirt and mom jeans, and I'm gonna be fucking set. Taking those Spanx and hanging those up on the hanger, ready to be done. For all the dudes who don't know what Spanx are, they're essentially a girdle made out of spandex and women's tears. That is what Spanx are made of. They're about this big, and we stretch them over our bodies to appear thinner. It's also the reason why your one-night stands, you go to bed looking like Halle Berry and they wake up looking like Oprah. That's the same, that's the exact same thing about that. But the Spanx, like, oh my god. I think my Spanx are like fucking soldiers. Like every time before I put them on, I hold them close to me and I'm like, oh darling, the things you have seen, the trouble you have endured, the terrible things that I put you through. One day you shall be free. One day you will be running through a field of dandelions, and the sun will be grazing you on the cheeks. But until then, my friend, and then I whip them onto my hips like it ain't nothing. I want to give my Spanx a fucking military funeral when I'm ready to hang them up. I'm talking 21 gun salute. I'm talking folding them all up into triangles and putting them on a raft and setting them ablaze. That's right, a military/Viking funeral for my Spanx. Woo! And honestly, like, to fulfill the crazy old woman, I'm obviously gonna have to have 2 or 3 kids. That's a given. It seems like women, like, as soon as they squeeze out the baby, the crazy just comes along with it. I swear, my sister had a baby, and a bunch of crazy just squeezed out with it. It was like she was completely normal, and then a minute later, she was insane. It didn't make sense. She told me on the day that my niece was born, I was taking pictures of my niece, and she said, you can't put any of those pictures of your niece on Facebook. And I was like, no, it's cool, she's not ugly, I checked. Like, obviously, that's the first thing I checked for. She's attractive, we can put pictures of her on Facebook. And they were like, no, it's not that, it's that I don't trust your friends. Now, I did see all the trailers of Da Vinci Code, but I wouldn't say I'm a code breaker. But I think that she's assuming that you guys are all pedos. Like, it's not like she gave birth to a 16-year-old with huge boobs. I mean, if that was the case, I'd have to cut half my Facebook friends off right there. I mean, I got my gun and Landon sitting right in front of me. I mean, that ain't gonna fly. That ain't gonna fly at all. But like, my sister, she's very new agey right now. She's trying to teach her daughter sign language. So she's like, Kristin, come here. Kristin, come here. She's gonna say more. She's gonna say more. Kristin, come here. Look, say more. Say more. And she'll get closer and closer. Say more. Say more. Come on, say more. And then my niece one time wound up and smacked her right in the face. She's not saying more, but she's definitely communicating something. She's definitely letting it be known. But to be honest, like, I can't have kids. Like, let's just be fair. I barely have jobs. I just keep those on with a string, you know, like a little thread. Some people say I'm a little frivolous with my positions. I'm a career nomad, okay? I'm an anthropologist, okay? I'm a motherfucking scholar, okay? I'm gathering information. Do you want to hear about some of the information that I gathered from my years and years of career nomadism? Basically what I do is I go to a new job, I stay there for about 2 or 3 months, I make gross assumptions, and then I move on. Some of those assumptions are every admin assistant loves kitten calendars. No matter what, across the board, if you have an admin assistant and you purchase her kitten calendar, ear to ear smiles. Because you know what? I have been an admin assistant in several different positions, and I have always loved kitten calendars, okay? That has never changed. Another thing is, if you're an accountant, you sad and lonely individual, and you should probably just deal with it. But we got a great show tonight. Like, can we get a round of applause for this great show? We got Mike Dunn here. Mike Dunn just played. He's a great guy. If you don't know, if you're not up with your vocabulary of farts, you should know that Mike Dunn coined a new word for farts. I have a friend who, she doesn't like to go out too much. She doesn't like the noise. She doesn't like the whole thing about it. She doesn't really like it. She goes to one of the Give 'em Hellboy shows. She's embraced by Mike Dunn, who mentions, "I have to leave now because I just farted." That is when I coined the term huggy, which is when you get hugged and then you smell diapers. So that's the new Mike Dunnism. Mike, I heard that you were going to be the next choice for the Whiskey Wagon Roast, which I heard that you were going to be, but then there was like a little sensitivity. Is he going to cry? Is he going to yell out? Is he going to storm out of the bar? We all wanted to be sure about that, which is a real shame. Like, it's a shame that we're not roasting you, because I had a great joke. It was about how Michael Dunn's dad is actually Bill Murray, and his mom is actually a Tyrannosaurus Rex. Not in that she's an actual ancient dinosaur, but just that she's a huge woman who's scaly with short arms. But we had a great show. Like, everything's been really great. I don't know if you could tell this so far, but I wasn't the coolest kid growing up. I was kind of a nerd. What? It's true. Believe it. Believe it. These Spanx are doing me justice, but my God, there were no Spanx in 1987, let me tell you that. But I grew up in a really small town. I moved to St. Albert. I wasn't what you say, coordinated. I was kind of clumsy. That's what my parents told me to say anyways. But my friends invited me to go ice skating right when I moved to St. Albert. And just like this, the first time I step on the ice, I fall and I break my wrist. Now, that's not that cool, it's a little embarrassing. A week later, my grandmother comes to town and she says, "I know what we'll do. We'll take you ice skating. We'll put a little mitten over your cast. Who's gonna know? Let's just go, me and you, teach you how to skate right now, make you the coolest kid on the block." So I go skating with my grandma, step on the ice, break my other wrist. This is not a joke, this actually happened, this is my life. So two casts going on at the same time. My first cast, everyone signed, everyone was really nice, tic-tac-toes, get well soon, all that jazz. The second cast, no one would sign. I was like, these St. Albert kids are fucking dicks. Like, they are dicks. Only one kid signed my cast, and all he wrote was, "See other cast." Get it? Because it's all written on the other cast. Oh, I got a couple legitimate jokes. Mel Gibson has been in the news lately. Mel Gibson he allegedly punched his mistress in the face while she was holding a newborn child. But guys, let's give Mel Gibson a couple chances here, okay? Let's just lay off Mel Gibson. It's called method acting. He was researching a new role. It was called What Women Want to, a punch in the face? Turns out they don't really want a punch in the face. Mel Gibson's new movie is called The Beaver, and that's true. And it's about a disturbed man who speaks to a beaver, which is a puppet on his own hand. A disturbed man elbow deep in beaver? That sounds like a role for Charlie Sheen. Zing! Yeah, that's right. Those are my legitimate jokes. I think I'm ready, I'm almost ready to go. I don't mean, Victoria, you know I love you, right? I don't mean to steal your thunder tonight, but I felt really insulted that it was never mentioned that I have musical talents as well.
I'm sorry.
No, not you. I'm just saying that whoever put together this crazy event really didn't do me justice because I have a lot of skills beyond the hilarity which you guys have already witnessed. I'm actually an up-and-coming rapper. So I don't mean to step on your musical talent, but I'm gonna hone a little Kanye West right now, which means I'm the best rapper in the whole wide world. But I have a rap to do, and it's about Subway sandwiches.
Yeah!
It's about how they're delicious and nutritious. So get ready. It goes a little something like this. Rub-a-dub-dub, I eat subs to maybe get rid of my fat ass chub. I keep it real when I get the chip deal. Instead of 6 chins, it's only 3 I feel. Instead of eating cheese and food wrapped in bacon, eat the Coca Trio when the scales ain't breaking. Each and every day, I'll eat 3 or 4. And now my big belly don't rub on the floor. Thank you, Subway. You'll bring me to tears because I haven't seen my junk in like 16 years.